Mr. President, the Majority Leader said that this was a promising day, and I would just say I think it is more than that. It is really a milestone to have the Majority Leader of the Senate working with a bipartisan group of us to lift a restriction that is anti-farmer, certainly anti-consumer, and anti-common sense. I mean, this industrial hemp restriction really, in my view, is working in needless hardship from sea to shining sea. And I'm going to take just a minute to build on some of the Majority Leader's remarks. Some colleagues may have heard me say that for me, this issue goes back several years. And my wife was pregnant, and she and I headed from our house in Southeast Portland, and we went off to the nearby Costco store. And we're walking through the aisles, and we come across this huge bag of hemp hearts. And it says, great fiber, terrific source of protein, a variety of different attributes were spelled out on this package. Good for your heart and good for your blood pressure. And I looked at the package, and the package clearly indicated it had been grown outside the United States. So I said to my wife, who is a businesswoman and savvy about such matters, is what would be wrong with saying, if you can buy it in a major supermarket in America, our farmers ought to be able to grow it in America. And she said, well, dear, that just sounds way too logical for what goes on in your world. But I think what the leader has said, and I just want to back up this with a little more detail, is the current policy is somehow based on the idea that hemp is a dangerous drug. I mean, if you look at the way some people have attacked this idea in the past, that was always the heart of it. Hemp was a dangerous drug. Hemp does not produce the high associated with marijuana. The only thing you're going to accomplish by smoking hemp is wasting your breath, wasting your time, and wasting lighter fluid. That is pretty much what you will accomplish. So this misguided policy of treating hemp like it is some kind of perilous, imminent threat to the American people is, I think, a mistake, and it means that the hemp products that are lining up on shelves all across America simply aren't going to be fully American-made. So you and Senator Paul have heard that from farmers in Kentucky. Senator Merkley and I have heard that from farmers in Oregon, and that is why it is so important that we move to a system that really is built on common sense, something that will be good for farmers, something that will be good for consumers, certainly offer additional consumer choice, and to, if I might, build on the now sort of memorialized words of Nancy Wyden, because when she said, hey, if you can buy it in a market in Oregon, the farmers ought to be able to grow it, I think that's a pretty good watchword for this bipartisan bill we're undertaking. I look forward to working closely with you, Mr. Leader. We're obviously going to be working with Chairman Roberts and Senator Stabenow, the ranking Democratic leader. This is long, long overdue. As you noted, we've got bipartisan supporters, and we are going to pull out all the stops to get this legislation passed. And I think I mentioned to the majority leader that those who've been involved in this effort, and it's been a really impressive coalition of farmers and health advocates and others, they're watching the Senate this morning because they're saying the Senate has finally come to understand what is relevant for this century. The policies that have been so flawed in the past are sort of outdated relics to yesteryear. And I'm pleased that Senator Merkley and I can join you and Senator Paul. We'll have colleagues on both sides involved in this legislation. It is long overdue. I want to thank the leader, and I'll yield back the balance of my time.